So for today's assignment, September 14th for 8th grade, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about simple and compound interest, and we're going to practice it just a little bit more. So for number one, Matthew deposits $7,500 into his bank account. The account earns 10% simple interest over 5 years. How much interest does the account earn? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at several different important pieces of information. First, we have to know how much money we're starting with, or our principal. We're starting with $7,500. The account's going to earn 10% simple interest over 5 years. So there's our rate and our time. But not only does that sentence give us our rate and our time, it also gives us what type of interest are we using. So it says right here that we're going to be using simple interest. So I'm going to go ahead and write the formula for simple interest on my paper, and that is how I'm showing work. So the formula for simple interest is PRT, or the principal times the rate times the time. The second thing, or the last thing I'm going to do before I start solving this question, I'm going to look at what the question is asking. How much interest does the account earn? So the question is asking for us to find interest. And if we look at the formula for PRT, this answer will give us the interest. So I don't need to do anything else after using this formula. So I'm going to start replacing the P, the R, and the T with what they are. So I'm going to have I equals, or the interest equals 7,500 times, now I have this 10%. So when I have 10%, I know I need to write that 10% as a decimal. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to move it over one spot, over two spot, and I have 0.10. So I'm going to rewrite that right here as the rate. My rate is 0.10, then times my 5 years. So I'm going to need to multiply these together, and that's going to give me the amount of interest that I will receive, or that Matthew will receive, if he puts $7,500 into his account and earns 10% simple interest for 5 years. So we're going to show that on the calculator and exactly what it should look like. So we don't need to type in the letter I. That's not what you need to do. This is just a math problem, so we're just going to write it exactly with just the formula. 7,500 times 0.10 for the rate, and then times 5 years. That's going to give us 3,750. So we know when we solve this that the interest equals $3,750. So with the question asking us how much interest does the account earn, our answer should be $3,750. Now we're going to look at this the other way. What if the question said how much is in his account total? So we're still using simple interest, so we're still going to use this formula. But once again, this formula will only give us the interest. To find the total amount, we're going to have to add the interest and how much we started with, and that's going to give us how much we have. So interest, in other words, is how much your account is going to increase, or how much the money goes up by. So we're starting with 7,500. It goes up by this much. So all we're going to do is we're going to combine these two numbers. We're going to add these two numbers, and we're going to get the total amount that we have in our account. That'll give us 11,250. So since we are using the simple interest formula, if I look at the formula, the answer is only going to give us the interest, which is what we needed in the real question, so we didn't have to do anything else. But if it said, what is the total amount, then we would have to add in the original amount. We're going to look at problem number 2. Matilda takes out a loan from the bank for $25,000. She chooses to pay back the loan with a 2% compound interest rate for 15 years. How much money will you have to pay back at the end of 15 years? So I'm going to underline some important piece of information. So we know that our principal is going to be $25,000. We know that our interest rate is going to be 2%. We know that our time is going to be 15 years. And lastly, we know that we're going to use the compound interest formula. So the compound interest formula is A, for the total amount, is going to be equal to the principal one plus the rate with an exponent of t, or the time will be our exponent. So we're going to go ahead and read what the question is asking us for. How much money will he have to pay back at the end of 15 years? So the implication is, how much total money will he have to pay back? So we're looking for the total. And what this A stands for is the total amount. So since this formula will give us A, the total amount, we're not going to need to do anything after we solve it. But the second question, how much of what he has to pay back is interest? So this formula doesn't give us interest. So to find the interest, we're going to take their total amount, which is what the formula will give us, and subtract what we put in, and then that'll show us the amount that the account grew by. And that means that'll show us how much interest the account made. So we're going to go ahead and enter this into our formula, or into our thing. We're going to replace it. We're going to have A equals, our principal is $25,000. 1 plus our rate. Remember, we're going to start at 2% and we're going to move it over. So over 1 over 2 should be 0.02. And our exponent will be 15 for 15 years. So when we enter this into our calculator, we have 25,000. 1 plus 0.02 with an exponent of 15. We enter that and we're going to get 33,646.7. Since this is money, we're going to add a 0 there and it'll be 70 cents. So $33,646.70. The total amount, or the A, equals $33,646.70. So the second question is just asking us how much of that is interest. Well, we know we started at $25,000, so the rest of it, how much it went up, is the interest. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our $33,000 and we're going to subtract what we started with. That way we can see exactly how much it went up. So we have $36,646.70 minus $25,000. And we're going to be left with $8,646 and should be 70 cents. And so that's how much the interest was on this account. So that means that's how much it went up. When we started at $25,000 and then it went up to $33,646.70. So now I'm going to talk about the questions 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which I need you to do by yourself. So number 3 is exactly what we were just working on. So it says John has 2 bank accounts with $3,000 in them. Account 1, we have 5% simple interest for 5 years. So you're going to use the simple interest formula. On account 2, it's 2% simple interest for 5 years. So you're also going to use the simple interest formula. What is the sum of his accounts at the end of 5 years? So what I need you to know is that the simple interest formula will give you just the interest. So to find the total amount in each account, you have to add the $3,000 after you solve it into account 1. You have to add this $3,000 into account 2. So that way you can find the sum of both of the accounts. And the sum means when we add two things together. Number 4, we're ordering decimals. So what I need you to do is hit F2 and then approximate and enter in all of these. You're going to rewrite the numbers and what they come out to as decimals right here, and right here. And then you're going to line them up and order them. Number 5, we're solving for x. So we're going to hit F2 and then solve. We're going to enter the equation, and we have to enter comma x, close the parentheses, or else it won't work. Number 6, we're going to be solving for which one of these is a function. So remember, a function cannot use the same x value twice. And lastly, number 7, I haven't showed you how to do this, but we're just going to follow the formula. So this formula is given to you at the beginning of the STAR test. If you could use this formula to deduce or to figure this out without being taught this, that's a very good sign. So we're going to do volume equals 4 over 3 pi r to the 3rd power. So that's for the volume of a sphere. So I'm giving you what the r is. The radius is 14.25. So all you need to do is insert that, and then you can solve this problem. Alright, so once again, even though most of these are calculator based, you're still putting what these come out to as decimals, and you're still showing me that you ordered them. This one, you're going to go ahead and write exactly what you put into the calculator. Alright, this one, go ahead and tell me why the one you picked is a function. And this one, you're just going to go ahead and rewrite this formula and replace r with 14.25 and solve. So this is the work for Monday, September 14th. Good luck.